conversation.
Thank you for joining us for our December 5th Village of East Aurora Board Meeting. If you could join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Scouts want to lead us off? Go ahead. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
And to the republic one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a roll call attendance, please?
Trustee Lizickis,
Present.
trustee Cameron.
Here.
Trustee Vijay.
Here.
Trustee Flynn.
Here.
Trustee Kimmelhurt.
Here.
Trustee Shear.
Here.
Mayor Mercurio.
Present.
7 present, 0 absent.
Thank you. I get a motion to approve the minutes of the Village Board meeting for November 21, 2022.
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
I'll second.
Second by Molly. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I get a motion for the approval of the payment of abstract for 12/5/22 for voucher numbers 62930 to 62961 for a total of $162,472.79.
So moved.
Moved by Marcia, second. Second by Grace. Further discussion?
Yeah. What is our fuel tank inventory system?
That is a computer system that monitors the tank levels in our underground fuel storage and also a leak detection system that we were lacking. That the DEC said we better have one.
Got, and that was all put in this last month, or is that in,
Pardon me?
was that all put in? Were there additional things done to that this month? Is
Yeah,
that
this past month, yes,
that was the 30 grand?
yes.
Okay, thanks.
Good.
I'm good.
Any other questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. All right, we have two speakers in communications. One is right now at the beginning of the meeting, and the second one will be at the end of the meeting. If you have a topic or issue you want to discuss, I would suggest if it's not part of the public hearings, we have a public hearing for a site plan for King Street and a public hearing for the local law for cannabis zoning. You'll get an opportunity to speak during those public hearings. Any other topic, now's the time. Please raise your hand. And when called on, come up and give us your name and address and tell us what your issue is. All right. Moving on to our first public hearing, can I get a motion to open a public hearing at 7:03 p.m. to consider a site plan application for Jonathan Beerle of Custom Builders of Western New York, agent for Andrea and Greg Perry to construct a single-family residence at 210 King Street.
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Marcia. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. The public hearing is now open. Would the applicant like to speak first? Aye.
Give your name and address. Jonathan Barrow from Custom Builders. 1036 Rice Road, Elma, New York.
What do you got, Jonathan?
It's the site plan for King Street.
Mhm.
Not sure what you.
Just give us a quick
They want to.
one sentence explanation of what it is.
Would like to put a house on the lot on King Street.
Okay. Is that the one with the big pine tree right in the front?
Yes,
Is that gonna come down?
absolutely.
How about that tree in the back, in the middle? Looks more like an apple tree.
I don't believe-
Okay. I don't know. In the winter, I can't tell. Yeah. All right. No garage?
it's being discussed
Okay.
as a possible add-on for storage in the back.
Oh, so it'd be in the back. Would you run the driveway then past the house?
Yes,
But currently the plan is to run it up to the left side of the house and just
currently,
parking in the
correct,
driveway.
yes. Yes.
Anything else you want to add?
not sure what else you would want me to add.
All right.
If you have
Anybody have any questions for him?
I've got concern, of course, about the tree. Are you considering putting something else in a different spot that would also be on the street facing? Yeah,
You know, we record the meeting, so
Yeah.
that way it's okay. You don't have to sing or anything. Don't worry.
Nervous. Oh, I'm sorry. Our
Yeah,
current
yeah,
address?
yeah.
Oh, Andrea Perry, 235 Potters Road, Buffalo.
Greg Perry, 235 Potters Road, Buffalo, New York.
Thank you.
Yeah, so our plan and kind of the vision right now would be from the sidewalk, doing some type of walkway up to the center of the house. It's gonna have a big front porch. It's obviously where the tree is now kind of is just like in the middle of where we kind of want everything to go.
Right.
But yeah, I would love, I mean, I wish we had more natural trees on the lot that were great, but yeah, I would love to put something around there. I just don't really know where, but yeah, in the front would be great. That would be good. But we don't have any set plans on any of that stuff yet. Other than obviously the current tree coming down, so.
okay. And it's an undersized lot, right, Liz?
It is. That's why they have a site plan application before you.
Have we received any correspondence against the project? Okay, no emails, no letter. All right. Anybody else have questions for them? No? All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak on this topic? All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:06 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Ernie, second,
Second.
second by Kristen. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing 3A is closed. Public hearing 3B. Can I get a motion to open a public hearing at 7:07 PM to consider a local law to enact zoning provisions for cannabis businesses to be added to the village code?
I'll make that motion.
By Marcia, second,
Second.
second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. The public hearing is now open. Kathy, do you want to give us a quick high level, please?
Actually, attorney, Chris is going to be here in a little bit, but our village attorney and Liz and I had worked on an initial draft. It did get presented to the board and the board had some changes that they wanted. So ultimately, what everyone sees before them is what the board has agreed to put before the public hearing. So it is what is under consideration. And I guess the main part is where it has the regulations that are additional for these types of cannabis businesses. And it also has the charts for the different zones where cannabis businesses can go. So I know everyone is probably mostly interested in the dispensaries because that is what the village board opted into last year. So there's not a debate of whether we will have dispensaries because that was decided after actually 3 or 4 very spirited public meetings last year. That was a decision the board also decided to opt out of having lounges. So we don't have those at this time. That does not mean they could not be added in the future, but it's not contemplated at this time. So, and there are actually, I think it's 7 other cannabis businesses that we didn't have any choice of in any event, the way the state structured everything, that could also come and locate within the village. And so this zoning also addresses those. So for instance, if you're going to have a wholesale distribution company that's going to sell to the retailers, that's one possible business. You could have a growing business, although that would grow cannabis. Probably not super likely in the village.
So they would
because
all be sequestered into the one.
yes,
zone, right?
and those are also actually the 2 zones. And the other thing that's a super important point is that every single cannabis business that proposes to locate, whether it be dispensary in the zones where those can go or the other businesses, they're all, whenever any one of those is proposed, they are all subject to a special use permit. So that goes to the planning commission for review and they go over it and discuss it and then can come up with findings and conditions coming back to the village board. And then the village board would act on the special use permit, and that can have other conditions that would be reasonable as far as where that exact business is going and the hours and all that, and what the board feels is important at the time that would be subject to a special use permit.
Thanks, Kath. Would anyone like to speak on this topic? Come on up. No, it's okay. Just come on up to the microphone. Give us your name and address, please.
And right now, can you hear? I do have a really small voice, so
You can bring the lights down.
bring the mic down. Oops, here we are. Okay, and I'm here on behalf of one individual, a resident of the village who wrote to you previously. And that is, and my name is Sally Mitchell, and I reside at 206 Center Street. I am a resident of the village. And another resident of the village whose name is Elizabeth Morana. It's Dr. Elizabeth Morana, and she resides at 270 Buffalo Road, Unit 62. She has asked me to read the letter that she sent to you on December 2nd. And then I just sent you a letter myself, and I don't know if it's possible for me to read that as well. They're both very short. So this is Dr. Morana's letter to you that was dated December 2nd. And she incorporates into her letter a letter she wrote to the editor of the East Aurora Advertiser after your prior hearing, your prior meeting on October 17th. So this is the letter she wrote to the Advertiser. I'm concerned to hear that the village board is seriously considering allowing a business, a cannabis dispensary, to open in East Aurora when this is a potential business that already needs to involve the police department. And this is because these dispensaries will largely be cash operations because cannabis is still outlawed by the federal government. So banks and credit card companies are not allowing these types of transactions. And we learn of the concern by the police departments is that having a large amount of cash on hand could open these shops to theft, and that certain security features might allow police to quickly solve a case. I'm not quite sure what that means. Why do we need to allow stores that can only handle cash? More sales taxes coming in? Is it worth it to risk robberies in our village? And what about bystanders? What about families, the children riding by on their bikes when someone comes out on the sidewalk with a firearm and money they've just stolen? What is happening here? Why would you want to take a risk like this? For what? And that's signed Elizabeth Morana. And that, so that is her letter. And she has asked her letter, and then the introductory part of her letter, which I won't read, be made part of the permanent record. And then this is my letter to you that you just landed on in your inboxes. So, dear Mayor Mercurio and members of the East Aurora Village Board, I am a resident of the village of East Aurora. My address is 206 Center Street, East Aurora. I respectfully submit this letter to the board for consideration at tonight's public hearing regarding the enactment of zoning provisions for cannabis businesses, etc. I understand that prior extensive discussions have taken place before the board, most particularly at the October 17th meeting regarding zoning regulations. I respectfully request the board to consider that the opening of a cannabis dispensary within the area zoned as the village center. It's one of the 3 areas designated at your last meeting, especially in the area between Main Street, between Olean Road and Riley Street, that this may negatively impact the family-friendly nature of that key section of Main Street. This popular section of Main Street between Olean and Riley is, as we all know, frequented by young families with small children and strollers, and is a destination for individuals walking their dogs. Groups of young children use that section of Main Street as they walk home from school. And many children can be seen riding their bicycles along that section of Main Street. Further, this section of Main Street is the area of the village most frequently visited by tourists. Other businesses along Main Street rely heavily on that tourist trade. A cash-only cannabis dispensary could possibly be the target of robberies. Additional police monitoring of the area may be required. Importantly, a cannabis dispensary in the above-mentioned section of Main Street does not seem compatible with the otherwise family-friendly nature of that commercial neighborhood, except for the couple of rowdy bars, as you know. The idea just doesn't seem to sit well. Additionally, I respectfully request the board to briefly outline for the benefit of the public all the steps required by the village in order for a new cannabis dispensary to open within one of the designated zoning areas. And I think you just did that. So we don't need to, if you have, that's not necessary. And in closing, I respectfully request the board to disclose whether any permits for cannabis dispensaries are currently before the village at this time. Thank you very much for your consideration. And that's my letter. And thank you.
Good. Thank you, Sally. Kathy and Liz, as far as whether there's any applications in front of the village at this point, where's the state at? Do we know?
They have issued some licenses, but none in, I don't think anywhere at all in Western New York. We definitely don't have any here.
Okay. Thank you. And Grace, did you have a comment on the cash run business?
Yeah, I guess my comment on the cash run business is one of the largest frequented restaurants in East Aurora that has the largest food and alcohol sales is a cash only operation. And they have, after my discussions with the police officers, have never had even an attempted robbery there.
All right, would anyone else like to speak on this topic?
I also think the area that was referenced, that would also, most of that area would also be covered by restrictions around churches and schools.
Yep.
So those are state regulations.
In the VC, is that what you're referring to?
Right.
Well, yeah, and state regulations that we're also codifying. So if the state were to change their minds on anything, we're still protected in that in our code.
The 500 feet from a school, 200 feet from a place of worship.
Right.
Right, that's a state requirement that we have in here, but like you said, we're
Mhm.
simply
Yeah, it's
reiterating
backup.
the state's restrictions.
Yeah, I do. Isn't the way we have it written now, if it goes forward the way it is, it's in the general manufacturing and village manufacturing, and none of that touches
Right.
that corridor of Main Street either.
Right.
So, and like you said, with the schools and the churches, it's a moot issue anyway.
Right.
And I concur with
Right.
Grace and the fact that the cash thing, I don't feel is going to be a huge problem through the fact that there's so many cash businesses now that.
Cone King used to be cash. I think one of the other things that we built into that too is to be sure that it doesn't turn into, no area would turn into Cannabis Row, because we added a stipulation that there could not be another dispensary within 500 feet.
500 feet.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, anyone else to speak on this topic? All right, can I get a motion to close a public hearing at 7:19 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second. Second by Marcia for the discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. The public hearing is closed. Moving on to official considerations. Can I get a motion to approve a neg deck under seeker with the village board as lead agency, specifying an unlisted action for the site plan application for Jonathan Beerl of Custom Builders of Western New York, agent for Andrea and Greg Perry to construct a single family residence at 210 King Street?
I'll make that motion.
Was that?
I said I will make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved by Kristen, second by Steve. Further discussion. All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Approved. I get a motion to approve the site plan application for Jonathan Beerle of Custom Builders, West New York, agent for Andrea and Greg Perry to construct a single-family residence at 210 King Street.
I'll move that.
Moved by Ernie, second by Marcia. Further discussion.
Just love, hope you do keep in mind putting in a tree.
All right.
And welcome.
Yes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Approved. Congratulations.
Done.
Can I get a motion for resolution of a negative declaration under seeker with the village board as lead agency specifying an unlisted action for the approval of a local law to enact zoning provisions for cannabis businesses to be added to the village code?
So moved.
Moved by Grace, second
Second.
by Marcia. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion to approve a local law to enact zoning provisions for cannabis businesses to be added to the village code?
so moved.
Moved by Kristen, second
Second.
by Marcia. Further discussion? All right, roll call vote. Kristen?
I,
Grace?
Aye.
Ernie?
Aye.
Marcia?
Aye.
Molly?
I,
Steve?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. It is unanimously approved. I get a motion to approve a temporary use permit for 42 North Brewing Company for the Barrel Jam event on February 4th.
So moved.
Moved by Grace, second by Ernie. Further discussion? Is the applicant here today? Hello, applicant. How are you? Sure. Do you want to just give everybody a 2-sentence high level explanation of what the event is?
You gotta come up here.
Sorry, buddy. Get your steps in.
John Simperman, 42 North Brewing Company, 540 Mill Road, residence, 25 Pine Street, business. This is the third year. We did skip a COVID year. We'll be hosting a barrel-aged beer festival, as well as some other exhibitors that are showing folks how the barrels are made and a few other local vendors. It's a great event. What I love most about it is hopefully it'll bring a couple hundred people into East Aurora in February, which is a pretty difficult month after we finish up the holidays. So our request is we do close down Persons Alley, 11 a.m. We wrap up everything out of there by 6 p.m. And I'd encourage you, if you're not doing something on Saturday, February 4th, to walk on over.
So question for you, did you have the snowboard ramp last year?
Yeah,
Did
the
you?
first 2 years. Yep.
That was my question too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Seeing
Yeah.
it. 20-foot by 10-foot ramp in Persons Alley.
Yeah.
As well as a chainsaw artist. So I assume there's gonna be big logs and stuff there.
He does like eagle sculptures.
So I'll have like a hunk of a tree. and
Yeah,
I'll be working on it.
local
Okay.
kid.
So they got to set it up at 11 for
Mm,
use from 2 to 5.
2 to 5.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So it's not gonna come down quick. My concern is, and I reached out to the police
Yep.
chief and the fire chief. If there's an event or a fire or an emergency, and we gotta get fire trucks down Persons Alley, that's not going anywhere quick, right?
It would take them about 30 minutes to tear it down.
Okay,
Tear it down.
so,
Hmm.
Roger LeBlanc, the chief. Seems to think they can come in the other 2 entrances off the Church or Pine and still get the trucks.
Yeah,
To the
that's,
back of Fiddlers and those businesses if they need to.
yeah,
in a
that's the
pinch.
nice part about where we're located there is there's 3 or 4 ingress, 3 or 4 egress. At some point down the road, we'd like to talk about more improvements that we can make to Persons Alley.
Mhm.
Thank you for passing on some of the great information. We're looking at that now.
Good.
But I think with Persons Alley, there's so much potential there as demonstrated by the art festival that we host in the summer, events like this, Limelight, Ron Jewelers, the dress shop have all dressed up those back businesses.
Mhm.
So what I think was an eyesore maybe 5 years ago has really turned into an asset.
Mhm.
So I think small events like barrel jam, bigger events like the art festival, I think we can demonstrate that that alley can be a real asset for us.
Mhm.
So we're gonna follow up on that over the next couple of months with some ideas to improve the area, maybe slow the traffic down a little bit.
Mhm.
Because there are a lot of folks, especially right now, walking with Biddler's shopping bags that, there's some traffic that comes through there. So we do need to talk about ways to slow that down on a separate meeting.
All right. Just while we're on it, do you want to just catch the board up on what he's talking about?
Oh, yeah. Grace, Pete and I met with John and some other local proprietors. Most of the people he just mentioned
Yep.
that are fixing up that back alley. And just to start the ball rolling on concepts of improving that area, enhancing it, making it almost like a little maybe destination area for the community. And a lot of good ideas were kicked around, possibly suggestion of maybe a group of the East End businesses getting together to help come up with ideas and facilitate possible grants and things of that nature. And then whatever the village board and the village in general can do to assist in that to help make it a nicer area. And as John said, maybe less traffic or more in a different way.
Or just a little, maybe slower traffic and
Slower,
maybe a little bit more pedestrian.
We
Yeah,
like pedestrian friendly.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly, exactly.
So there is a cluster of businesses there that could, the community as a whole, as well as that cluster of businesses could really benefit from it.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of collaboration with the 5 or 6 businesses I mentioned. Behind the alley and on person. So it's great that we can all come together with a shared vision.
Right.
And, as I hear from a lot of folks here, before you present something to the board, you should ask your neighbors first.
Yep.
And it does go a long way. It does go a long way.
Right. Anybody have any other questions for John? Any other board members? All right, great. Thank you, John.
Everything he's done has been top notch and well done.
Knock on wood.
So-
I'll see you on the snowboard ramp, Ernie.
All right.
You want some comedy?
Give it a clinic.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for all
Thank
the
you.
support. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Yep.
All right, moved by Grace, second by Ernie. Any other discussion from the board? All those in favor?
Okay.
Opposed? Approved. I get a motion to refer to the planning commission on January 3rd, an application for a special use permit for Abby Brown, the new owner of the homegrown kitchen restaurant at 640-650 Main Street.
So moved.
Moved by Marcia, second by Kristen. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that is gonna go before them on January 3rd. I get a motion to approve the welcome sign replacement at Sinking Ponds.
So moved.
Moved by Marcia, second,
Second.
second by Steve. Further discussion? Marcia?
Sure.
Fine.
So if you recall, Orlando Monaco was leading a group of folks, Friends of Sinking Ponds. And he's come up with some ideas that are supported by that group to do some replacement signage at Sinking Ponds, to sort of consolidate some of the signage so that there's fewer signs and that it's proposed to be moved to an area where visitors will see it right away. And they'll understand what the rules are. And also expanding one of the things that the current sign says is referencing that bread is bad for ducks. Well, bread is bad for all wildlife. So they're making that more inclusive. The good news is this is completely funded by donations. They're going to use the existing sign poles and we've got Matt Hayes concurrence on this. So when the weather is better, new signage will be put in place.
So there's not, just to clarify, there's not a net increase in signs, right?
No.
Because Ernie made a great point a while back that there's a lot of signs there and I went.
Right.
I think it was 24.
Yeah.
It was like 24 signs down there.
It's crazy. And they're multiple on a sign.
And they're like right in front of the view. Some of them are right in front of the view.
That,
You
yeah.
know, you pull up and stand or whatever. You're looking out at the nature and there's this big sign in front that
Yeah,
says,
signage ponds.
ducks are, yeah. Ducks are
So that's
low.
going away. going
And
away.
and the
Good.
photographers really, you know, they don't appreciate that, so.
Good move.
It meets all the size requirements and everything?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Monaco.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nice job, Marcia. Any other discussion? All right, moved by Marcia, second by Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. We get a motion to approve the cancellation of the village board meeting on Monday, July 3rd.
Oh, I'll go for that.
Yeah,
I'll move that.
And I'll second.
moved by Steve, second by Marcia. Further discussion. I take it everybody understands why that makes sense. And when things get slow, we do like to give the board back some time in the summer. So this works out perfectly. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? I get a motion to set a public hearing on January 17th, 2023 for a local law to change the section 9 of the village code capital program.
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Molly, second by Kristen. Further discussion. Maureen, do you want a quick high level, please?
So the law was written a long time ago. The dollar values have changed very much. And the timeline doesn't exactly make sense to me. And currently they have that it's not due to me until March. I really need a plan in December so that, because I'm already working on the budget for next year. Also, it says that it doesn't get adopted until the budget gets adopted, which also doesn't make sense to me. I think that it should get adopted first and then it can be implemented into the budget. Because if you're not going to adopt it, how am I doing the budget? So we're just making some slight changes in the timeline and the dollar value, because $10,000 in the 80s is not the same value as it is now.
Thank you. Any of the board have any questions for Maureen on this? All right, moved by Molly, second by Kristen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing is set. I get a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a memorandum of agreement with the PBA Police Union.
So moved.
Moved by Marcia, second.
Second.
Second by Kristen. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Moving past new business to second speakers and communications. Anybody like to speak on any topic? Please raise your hand. When acknowledged, come up, give us your name and address and tell us your beef. I like it. All right. Department head report. Shane, the police chief, could not be with us today. Does Shane, Kathy, have any updates or anything we need to know about? Okay. Matt?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Nothing from Matt. Liz? Okay, Kathy? Wow, this is great. Don't screw this up, Maureen. Do not screw this up. Uh-oh, what do you got?
Okay, I'll say nothing.
No, go ahead.
Well, the capital committee, and I'm sure Kristen will have it too, but has approved a plan which will come before you. If we change the law first for the timeline of approval, because otherwise I'm sitting on it until March anyways, but that will be coming before you after we decide on the timeline.
Very good. Thank you. Steve?
I'm all set.
All right. Molly?
I'm good.
All right. Marcia?
Nothing.
All right. Ernie?
Nothing.
And Grace?
Nothing.
Kristen?
Maureen pretty much covered it. So the capital committee has finalized the plan. That'll come before the board sometime soon. We're looking 6+ years into the future with this, probably further. So.
Great.
Yeah.
Good vision. I would just say the storm really brought out the good neighbors and a lot of people in East Aurora. I know I was out there. I went out to do some shoveling and my neighbors on either side had come over and started to clear out my driveway where the plow had plowed it back in. My snow blower went down at one point, and the guy walking back with dog food from the store stopped and said, "Oh, I got a new snow blower. I'll be right back." And he walked it like a block and a half down and snow blowed the front of my driveway so I could get the vehicles out. It just really is a nice testament to humanity, and it's nice. It's nice to see that sometimes, to see the good stuff. I would also say the holiday decoration committee, this year was a lot of Girl Scouts and their moms came out. We got the decorations. I want to thank the DPW for getting everything up. We made a few minor tweaks, but basically, I think it turned out pretty nice. If you see lights that are down or hanging or anything that isn't working, give us a call and let us know and we'll get it fixed, addressed quickly. And the Carolcade is on the 17th from 7 to 8. Saturday, the 17th, Main Street will be closed from about 6:30 till about 8. They just announced today, I'm assuming most of you heard, that the Bills Miami game is Saturday night at 8:15. So, yeah, you'll be able to do both. You'll be able to do both.
I think
So-
the restaurants in that area are gonna be a little busy
Yeah.
right after Carolcade.
Right.
Yeah,
But they got a TV.
Good for business.
Yeah.
maybe, Person's Alley has a projector.
So,
We could sing the shout song.
Yeah.
at the end, oh, you know what? We should do that.
Yeah,
That'd be great, just spontaneously. That's a great idea, Marcia.
Tell Rob Geller.
That.
Yeah.
Can you lead us in the shout song? No. So detour wise, the thought is, I know you talked to Shane, I talked to Shane today, the police chief. The thought is that most of the traffic will already be in the stadium area, or at least past East Aurora by 6:30. The people who just show up and don't tailgate and just roll right into the game might still be going by. What are we gonna do for them as far as getting them around Main Street? Do we do detour signs or just let them find their way, or how are we gonna do it this year?
There's usually somebody posted at each end of the intersection. You can give directions.
Just point them, send them around. What's now County Pine is a county road, Gerard's a village road, and Maple's a county road again. Does a detour have to stay on a county road? Is there a rule to that?
We don't put in for an actual detour permit.
Yeah.
Because of the short duration of time, we just close the road.
So which way are we gonna send them? I guess is my question.
Either way, either
Yeah.
down Oakwood or down Gerard.
Okay. Just spread them out.
Hmm.
All right. Very good. Thank you. And that's it. Thank you all for coming today. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So move.
Moved by Steve, second. Second by Marcia. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.